And welcome back, Nats fans, to another episode of the DoDcast Postgame Show. I'm District on Deck co-editor Ricky Keeler as the Washington Nationals. They led 1-0 going to the ninth inning, a chance at a combined one-hitter. And Brandon Kintzler gives up 4 runs in the top of the ninth as the Pirates beat the Nats 4-1. Tie their franchise record and wins tomorrow. They won't be able to break it. The result of tonight was meaningless. Even if the Nats held on to the one-hitter, the more meaningful situation right now is what happened with Max Scherzer, who left the game in the top of the 4th inning due to a leg injury. There was no word about it during the game, so of course we'll be with you to talk about it, and we'll try to get the comments from Zuckman, whoever's reporting on it during this podcast, I'm sure. I don't think it's anything to be too worried about, but considering Scherzer has a habit of continually leaving games, you have to be worried a little bit. FP was talking about during the game on Mass and how he might have read Scherzer's lips and had tight hammy. I didn't pull it. So we'll see if that's the case. But really, tonight's result meaningless in a big picture. Ryan Zimmerman continues his red-hot swing at the plate. He had the Nats' lone RBI. And Felipe Rivero showed how pretty good of a closer he is to the 1-2-3 9th inning. But nothing was really flying out tonight. Park kept a lot of balls in with the wind. But feel free to chime in here in the chat room and the YouTube page. You can tweet me on Twitter at Rickinator555 or at District on Deck. So let's get to the totals. Get 4 runs on 5 hits, no errors. On 4 hits and no errors. The win actually goes to George Contos out of the bullpen after a pretty good effort by Jamison Tyone. I mean, he made one mistake in the 2nd inning, and he was pretty good after that. I think the Pirates, like we talked about last night, a pretty bright future is, and you have Tyone. Not a bad 1-2. Kintzler takes the loss, and Felipe Rivero gets his 21st save. So at least the Pirates, who have struggled on the lately, at least get a road win themselves. Contos goes to 1-6 with the win, his first win in relief. Kintzler goes to 4-3 with the loss, and as I said, Rivero. Now let's take a look in the chat room here. Seth saying, well, this is Seth I know before the game. So let me take a look at a couple other things here. Chris Lacey asks if Scherzer remains injured, does Strasburg start game 1? And Seth, do you have any considering thoughts after tonight? I see Jay here, and he says Dusty being Dusty. Jay, I'm going to disagree. I don't think I actually give Dusty credit for taking him out. I don't think I mean, are we going to really get on Dusty Baker for these little things with pitchers? I mean, then we'd be talking about if Max Scherzer didn't pitch. Oh, Scherzer's got his layoff. So you'd have Scherzer on a layoff. You'd have Harper on a layoff. And Harper hasn't looked great since coming back. His timing's still off. I'm not going to sit here and blame Dusty. Look, you know what? I'm actually giving Max Scherzer credit for saying, look, the big picture, I need to come out. That likes to stay in and pitch these games. I blame on Dusty Baker here. Like, he's done such a great job this year. I'm not going to get angry on him over this. It doesn't sound like it's going to be a big deal. Of course, we'll wait to see what happens with the injury. But I don't know if there's really anybody to blame, and I don't think Dusty really gets the blame here. I mean, I'm sure, Jay, that you have an opinion on that, and I understand that. Believe me. I'm not going to blame Dusty, though. Has nothing to do with the ninth. Pitching Kintzler the ninth when he's clearly been terrible there. Jay, I think tonight, to be honest, like I said, these games don't mean anything. And Kintzler's trying to get that 30th save, and that's important to him. Dusty knows how it's important to him. He's a player's manager. Sean Doolittle pitched Thursday night. He warmed up last night in a non-save situation. I think that might have came back to bite them if they want to go that route. They could use Ryan Madsen, but I would think Ryan Madsen's going to get some work in tomorrow. I think tomorrow's pitching matchups are already planned. Like, there's going to be no game script. It's going to be you pitch, Gio's going to pitch X amount of innings, and somebody gets in for 2 innings. Tomorrow in baseball, you're going to see people throw out random lineups because there's not a single meaningful game. Can get a chance at 30 saves. You got to give it to him. And it's not, I don't think you even have to worry about Brandon Kintzler. 2 save situations he's blown, he's been really great in his role. And that's the only important thing. If Kintzler struggled in the 7th tonight, but I'm not going to be worried about him struggling in the 9th. And Yeah, you could put some blame on Dusty J. I understand it. But I don't think that I'm not too angry at him. I think he was trying to look out for his player so much, and that's why he has a good chance of coming back next year. I don't think he's trying to reinvent the wheel. I think it's just a one-night thing. I don't think he's trying to reinvent the wheel in that situation. Let's take a look here. Seth says, any concerns after tonight's game? No. I really, the only one is Scherzer. And only if he get off the panic button here. If Max Scherzer's fine, then there's nothing really to worry about tonight's game. And I'm seeing Ron, who's actually not in the chat, but Ron is on Facebook, so I'm hoping if Ron's listening, he'll give me who said it. Ron sent me the 2 words, hamstring cramp. So it's just a hamstring cramp, then that's good news all around. So in the end, wouldn't be anything really to worry about. Judo had a thought. What's weird is that all these issues come up this year. Do you think it's just there has not been any kind of meaningful games after the All-Star break? I mean, I get that, Judo. I also think when he got hurt in Milwaukee, I think that's had more of an impact than we thought. Factor that in and maybe what happens. I mean, if it's a hamstring cramp, these kind of things happen. I mean, Steven Strasburg cramps in every game all season, practically every game down the stretch anyway. I don't know why Strasburg cramps all the time, it feels like, but I really think Scherzer just had a lot of little nagging things, and with a veteran pitcher, he goes out there and toughs it out all the time, and it's amazing how tough he is on the mound. But I don't know if it's anything nagging here. You will get a trivia question tonight, Seth. That's coming. I want to get back to Chris's question. If Scherzer remains injured, does Strasburg start game 1? Here's the issue. I don't think it's really an issue because the Nats can go any which way with this. You could actually go with game 1 and Max Scherzer game 2. Let me give you a couple reasons why. You could go Max Scherzer game 2 extra day if that hamstring. I think that's got to be in their mind as well. I think another factor to keep in mind is you also at the game 5 situation if the series goes 5. If you're going to go 4 starters, Tanner Roark's going to pitch game 4. He got to pitch twice. And let's keep this in mind. He has experience pitching out of the bullpen in division series. He's done it twice with the Tigers. Steven Strasburg has not. If he did, I don't know if you guys can remember if he pitched in 2014 or not in game 4. I don't remember him pitching in that situation. Comfortable Strasburg stay starting game 5 and then moving Max to the bullpen just in case if you needed a win. Again, these are different scenarios, but Strasburg has earned an opportunity. I would still give it to Scherzer. I think he's the ace of your staff. You pay him over $200 million, he should get the ball. Get in Arizona in the wild card game, 1 game best of 5, and that's a difference. Gets paid the big bucks to pitch the big game. Big bucks. I know Strasburg gets just almost as much big bucks. Max, I think, deserves to start. Oh, he did not. Okay. Yeah, he pitched the ones he did. If you're wondering about Judah, I'm going back here. Kendrick did get back in a pinch hit. That was good. And yeah, I think Judo, he's warming up. 1 game in 2014. Okay, so that's Scherzer pitched, I believe, 2 relief appearances. 2011, I do remember because I have out of the bullpen against the Yankees for Doug Fister. So former Nats involved in that. And then I believe he pitched against Oakland in 2013. Scherzer has pitched twice out of the bullpen in the playoffs. Maybe that comes to mind. Dusty's not going to reveal anything. He shouldn't. I think he's going to keep it in the back of his mind. And yet, Mark, this is from Mark Zuckerman. A lot of the reporters put it now. Right hamstring cramp for Scherzer. Dusty said it was precautionary, would have stayed if this was a more important game. And then Chelsea James had it. Dusty and whether Scherzer trouble could affect how he slots the rotation. We didn't even think about that. So, all in all, just a precautionary measure. And he looked good. 3 1/3, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, 54 pitches, 38 strikes. Had everything working, and you thought, depending on how long the Nats wanted him to stay out there, that Scherzer could have gone 6-7, struck out 10. He did get to 200-plus innings for the 5th time in his career, accomplishment as well. He's done it every year since 2013. So congratulations to Max Scherzer on that accomplishment. Oh, Baltimore. Okay. So it was 2013 against Baltimore. I thought he did against Oakland once, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to look at the game logs here just to be on the safe side. I'm pitching out of the pen against the A's. But I will look into that. I know Jay here brought up A.J. Cole, and I want to bring up Cole myself. I thought he looked great. Strikeouts, 2 walks, threw 95 out of the bullpen to Starling Marte to get a strikeout. He did have a couple of walks, but I liked how he battled back. His slider had good movement. If the Nats were going to go with a long man, I would probably take A.J. Cole. I think he has looked really good out of the bullpen. He's looked much different. The velocity is there. So if they do decide to go that long route, I would take Cole. And I think Jay brought up should be the odds-on favorite to be the 5th starter next year. I think he'll compete with Eric Fedde for the job. It depends, I think, on how much they want to. If they want to start Fedde earlier, do they worry about him vaulting his innings up? I do think Cole will be in the mix, and if not, maybe he's the long man next year out of the bullpen because he can throw with that velocity. So let me look again. I'm going to take a quick look at Max Scherzer's game log just to be sure. Here we go. I thought, okay, let's take a look here. I thought, maybe I'm wrong. I think Seth might be right. Scherzer pitched in the bullpen in 2011 in Game 5. In the 3rd, gave up a run and 2 hits. And then in 2013, went 2 innings out of the bullpen against the A's. Right. I remember Scherzer getting pumped about the A's game, but he did pitch against the Orioles in 2014. That was as a starter, though, Seth. Yeah, base load, nobody out. That's the decision I was going out for. Jay says, I wasn't impressed with Fedde this year, just my educated eyes, though. Jay, I'll throw it to you like this. To me, I think you have to consider a lot of Fedde's problems this year to going back and forth in between roles. I've watched him in the minors. I've watched him in the majors. And to me, they want to work on his changeup. I think that pitch is continuing to improve. He does have the velocity in his fastball. He still has a good breaking ball. To me, the hype was a little too much on him. He's not Max Scherzer. He's not Steven Strasburg. To me, he's a 3-starter. If he's a good middle-of-the-rotation starter, I think you'll take it. I think once he goes into an offseason preparing to be the starter the whole year and never working on being a reliever again, better Eric Fedde. I'm not really too worried on him next year. Look, I know I passed a couple of things here going off the Strasburg thing. I know I was kind of talking about Brandon Kinsler. Again, he had a bad night. He's a guy who relies on contact. Did not happen. The rhythm wasn't there, but I'm not worried about him. He had a bad night. Sometimes you just have bad nights. And from what I had looking at his outings with the Nats, outside of those 2 blown saves he's had, when he pitches in the 7th and or 8th inning, he's really good. If he struggled and gave up 4 runs in the 7th tonight, then I think you can be more alarmed. I'm confident in Brandon Kinsler. I'm confident in Ryan Madsen. I'm confident in Sean Doolittle in the postseason. I think you have to be. I understand. I read John Heyman Thursday, and he said the bullpen's still an issue. How's the bullpen still an issue? Sean Doolittle has blown as many saves as Wade Davis. Is it because Sean Doolittle's name is not Wade Davis? The Nats bullpen is pretty good. Sammy Solis got the final out in the 9th and looked good. And Romero had a nice scoreless 8th inning as he tried to make his last push of the playoff roster. There's depth on this team. And we couldn't say that 3 months ago. And I do agree, Jay. Yeah, he's magical in the 7th and 8th inning for sure. So we take a look at, there's not going to be any change. I think Max Scherzer's pitching Game 1 Friday. The only question really who pitches Game 1 for the Cubs, and again, as I said yesterday, it kind of looks like it's Kyle Hendricks right now. He's been their most consistent starter. It has not been officially named. Again, John Lester pitched today for the Cubs. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I don't think Lester would throw to game 2 at the earliest. That's what it sounds like. Could see a John Lester, Steven Strasburg game 2, which would be a lot of fun next Saturday night. And start times have not been announced yet for that. Chris asked, do you think Dusty will hit Harper low in the lineup in the NLDS due to struggles? Chris, I don't really think that Harper hitting where he is now was going to be was contingent. Even if Harper was 10 for 20, or let's say 7 for 14 in this last week, he's moving down in the order. I think Jason Wirt's staying second. I think they want to give Trey Turner an opportunity to steal bases. I think Harper will stay in the 3-4 spot he's been at. They're just trying to get him as many at-bats as possible. His timing is still not there, but the one thing I'd be concerned about with Harper tonight, he was chasing a lot of pitches down in the zone. Not really the same plate discipline we're used to seeing. Now, he showed more plate discipline earlier in the week. To me, I think he's just trying to find something he can drive, and that's why I tell him tomorrow. I'm sure Harper will be in the lineup tomorrow. Get a couple at bats. He did play 8 innings tonight. Victor Robles came in to play defense in the 9th. So I think the only thing worried about Harper is timing. And the only way you fix your timing is you get more at bats. So he'll get a chance tomorrow. Then he'll get some BP sessions. But you want Harper to at least have a good game tomorrow going into the week of workouts and BP sessions and everything going into Friday. I think that's the one thing you worry about right now. Seth said, who beat us in the regular season on the Cubs rotation? I believe, I'm trying to remember who pitched those games. It was Lackey won, I think, one of them at Wrigley Field. I'm not looking at the results here real quick. And I think the other one was the opener, whoever pitched against Gio that night. It wasn't Lester. It wasn't Arrieta. Quintana wasn't there then. Was it? I might have been Eddie Butler, I think, actually. So the Cubs, the only 2 games that the Cubs, well, and the other one they won in relief, John Lester started that game, but then that was the game like Trinan blew in the 9th. So there's, and yes, that was the issue. Other news story tonight, Jay Lewis saying what Sean Kelly had bone spurs in his elbow. Clearly had to be an issue with his struggles. He's on the 60-day DL. Steven Drew is back. They had to activate Drew off the 60-day to give him a chance to play in the postseason. He's probably not going to play in the NLDS. You would think if the Nats move on to the NLCS or even the World Series, you might see Steven Drew back. But right now he doesn't have enough at bats. The only injured player that has a chance to get back is probably Brian Goodwin. And it depends on how many at bats he's getting out in West Palm. We still don't know how he's doing out in Florida, but we do know he's getting at bats, and that's important. I'm going to say, though, a little, Jamal Collier saying that now the Nats are saying Scherzer left to get a precautionary MRI. Okay. I don't like the words MRI and precautionary in the same sentence. So he won't talk about the trouble tonight. So, again, maybe they're just doing everything to be careful. But I never like hearing the words MRI in the same sentence. So we'll see if the Nats update at some point tomorrow. Dusty usually doesn't talk before games on Sundays, so that'll be something to keep an eye on for tomorrow. I think Max is fine, but still, you never want to hear the words precautionary MRI. But let's get back to Zervin. 6 for 6, picked up an RBI single in the second. He's been great in this series. Back, and that's important. Now hitting 304 on the year. Murphy had a hit tonight. He's at 320. And the other hit came from A.J. Cole, actually, which I was very impressed with him getting a base hit tonight as well. Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a good sign. I'm not going to panic over it yet. I think anytime you have a guy like Max Scherzer, you have to at least get that. Let me read a quote I have here. I just saw it and I passed it. Yeah, Scherzer did leave the ballpark for, okay, that's different. Same news as normal. But I'm not going to go crazy yet. It's not a good thing, but I don't think it's anything major. I mean, if Dusty says it's just a cramp, I don't know what the MRI is going to show, but when Scherzer's making $200+ million, you want to do everything you can to make sure he's healthy. So not one I would go crazy over, but will be something to watch tomorrow. Is it safe? Edwin Jackson, Chris says, won't be on the playoff roster. Yeah, Judo, you're right about the thing. I would say, Chris, yes. I know Jackson pitched well the other night, and it was great to see him pitch well, especially what he was thinking about and what was on his heart. You see him, I think his inconsistency in September is going to keep him off the roster. I would still be surprised if the Nats took a long way to begin with. Solis can throw multiple innings. Albers can throw multiple innings. And their starters are capable of going deep into games. So I don't really know if they're going to take that long man. I think they'll go to 4 starters and they'll go the rest with relievers. That's my guess. There's a long way to go between now and Friday, but I don't think Edwin Jackson making the team. Yeah, I'm with Judah. Like I said, I'm with you. I think that they're just being as safe as possible. Let's go around the league and let's first start in the division. Then we'll talk about what happened in terms of playoff clinchers today, because every spot is locked up now. So tomorrow will just be a nice, fun day of baseball where nobody's stressing out over anything because nobody's playing for anything. Marlins did beat the Braves 10-2. Giancarlo Stanton went 1 for 5, did not hit a home run, but D. Gordon stole his 60th base of the season. Derek Dietrich, a 3-run homer in the first. Despaigne got the win for the Marlins. Lucas Sims got the loss for Atlanta. Mets and Phillies playing right now, 4-4 in the bottom of the 9th inning. See what's going on in that one. Maikel Franco with a home run in the second. And for the Mets, a couple RBIs for Brandon Nimmo tonight. So that game going on in Philadelphia. In the National League, because Milwaukee lost 7-6 to the Cardinals, Brewers blew a 6-0 lead going to the bottom of the 3rd inning. And with Milwaukee, it finally caught up to them. In September, they finally got tired. But give Milwaukee a lot of credit. They really weren't supposed to be this good this year. Craig Counsell got the most out of this team, but that Jimmy Nelson injury in September hurt their chances of making the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. So Colorado knew they were in the playoffs before this game even started. Right now it's 3-3 with the Dodgers in the 7th. Clayton Kershaw did start tonight for LA. Didn't look very good. 4 innings, 3 runs, 7 hits, 2 strikeouts. So that does leave the Cy Young up in the air. And you got Clayton Kershaw, who's battled injury this year. You got Max Scherzer, who's battled injury this year. You have Steven Strasburg, who did miss a month, but he's thrown a .86 ERA over his last 10 starts. The Cy Young is up for grabs, people. You can make a case for any of those 3 guys. You can make a case for Gio. You can make a case for Greinke. This NL Cy Young is as wide open as I can remember it. I would still lean toward Max Scherzer, but I can understand if you can make a case for any of the guys. I wouldn't blame you for it. But I think that's going to be something to watch. So it'll be Colorado against Arizona Wednesday night on TBS. I think it's Zach Greinke against John Gray in that game. As for the American League, yes, the Red Sox beat the Astros 6-3, so they won the AL East today. So congratulations again, Ron. Mookie Betts hit a home run in the 7th, his 24th of the season. Drew Pomeranz picked up his 17th win of the year. 6 innings, 1 run, 3 hits. David Price struck out George Springer with bases loaded in the 7th. So you wonder with Price, he's been really good as a reliever, and I don't know if he's going to be Andrew Miller, but Price has a better track record as a reliever in the playoffs than as a starter. So we'll see how John Farrell rolls the dice with Price. And remember, these teams will play on Thursday in Game 1, and Boston didn't have to use Chris Sale, which was important to them. Yankees did get the win, though, 2-1. Aaron Judge, a 484-foot monster shot off of Marcus Stroman, his 52nd of the season. And how about the year CC Sabathia has had? 5 2/3, 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, 14-5. CC finishes on the regular season. I'm telling you, I did not expect 14 wins of CC Sabathia. He's been that good. Let's see what else we got here. At least in terms of scores. Oh, we'll talk about the Cubs. John Lester did throw a shutout today against the Reds. Cubs won 9-0. Lester got his 13th win, 5 innings, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts. Kyle Schwarber, his 30th home run of the season. So Schwarber, only 59 RBIs, but he's got 30 homers. And he's been the Cubs' best home run hitter in the second half. Chris asks, any concern Dusty make a questionable decision regarding bullpen usage in the NLDS? You have that concern, Chris, with any manager. Even Joe Madden. If you worry about the small things Dusty might do, again, I think last year Baker didn't make a bad decision. I thought Dusty just got outmanaged by Dave Roberts, and Roberts made the more aggressive moves, and the aggressive moves paid off. But I don't think I'm not worried about what kind of decisions he makes. I think he's got the pulse of this team. The only thing I worry about with Dusty is whether or not there's a contract extension announced between now and Friday, because it's going to be a lot of pressure managing with a contract extension on your head. We have the argument, and Seth says Aaron Judge is going to be the MVP. Book it. I think, Seth, the only thing that's hurting Judge is the 7 weeks that he was really bad. He's been so great this season. He's been red hot in September. It's good that he's got his form going in the wild card game on Tuesday against Irvin and Santana, but to me, you got to reward consistency. I think Altuve has been the most consistent player in the league all year. So I have the IBWA vote. My AL MVP vote, I believe, is going to go to Jose Altuve. Jay, I'm assuming what you're saying, the concern, your whole point of your frustration was about Dusty with the contract. Again, I'm not in the room. I don't think Dusty is caring about his contract right now. I don't think he's going to manage the playoffs with the contract in mind. Dusty right now is just focused on getting a championship. I mean, I think he wanted the Nats to win 99 games. He wanted them to break the franchise record. They didn't get it. I'm surprised that there hasn't been an extension, and who knows what will happen. I was just surprised that this contract hasn't been resolved yet. I'm not one of those people that thinks that if the Nats lose, Dusty should go. I think he's done a nice job with what's been given. That's the question. But the questionable decisions. But Jay, any manager makes questionable decisions. I mean, I take a look at Girardi. Ron could say the same thing about Farrell. Like if you watch the Red Sox game today, Addison Reed's coming in the game, and Farrell's saying, no, don't come in the game, and Reed had to walk back. And luckily it didn't backfire on John Farrell. I know Baker's got the track record of elimination games. And yes, I think I'm doing a tail of the tape for the series that'll go out in the middle of the week. I think Joe Maddon's a better manager than Dusty Baker. Arguably one of the two best managers in the league. But I'm not really worried about the moves Dusty makes. I think what's going to come down to is what the guys do on the field. Dusty's going to put them in the right position to make an impact. It's going to matter. I think you're going to put more emphasis on what the players do, what the manager does. Yes, they will get a talk, and you can do Monday morning quarterback, and I understand that. Dusty gets his fair share of criticism for how he handles starting pitchers and things like that. I'm not too worried about what Dusty might do. Like I said last year, I can't really think of a move. I mean, you could make the case, yeah, Dusty messed up Scherzer in Game 5, but Scherzer did give up the home run to Peterson. I don't think you're taking Max Scherzer after 6 innings last year, despite having the higher pitch count than normal. So I'm not really going to put any – I think Dusty's just fine. I'm not going to go and really worried about him at this point. Does it matter? Chris doesn't matter how they lose. No. I don't think it matters how they lose. I mean, this is what I don't get. You're watching these games, and I understand Ron and I talk about that there's a lot of negativity around the Nationals. Look, we try to keep it as fair as we can. But how about trying to buy this team is arguably this is the best team they've ever had. Whether they get to 98 wins tomorrow or not, I'm sure they won't put up that great of a lineup tomorrow. Anthony Rendon will probably play, Harper will play, but I think a lot of the regulars will only play a couple innings, if that. This team is probably, like I said, the best team they've had. I think they've got their best chance to get past the first round. They're going to pick the Nats? Not sure yet, but I think that this is their best opportunity. I don't think Dusty's going to screw that up. Let's take a look at the pitching matchup for tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern, first pitch. Every game starts at 3 tomorrow. Ron will be with you for the game. Gio Gonzalez takes him out for the Nats, 15-8 with a 2.75 ERA. Against Steven Brodt for the Pirates, who's making his 4th start of his Major League career, 1-0 with a 3.86. Gio's going for his 16th win, has a chance to get to 200 innings for the first time since 2011. So a couple of milestones on the line for Gio. So I think it's going to be good to see his milestones. I think only go 4 to 5 innings, and we'll go from there. So I know I got some comments here. So here's Jay. If they flame in the playoffs in the first round, I don't think they re-sign Dusty, just my opinion. Can you blame us? They've never won a postseason series, constant playoff failures. No, look, I can't blame you, Jay. I'm not going to sit here and judge another fan base's failures. You're not the Cubs. Like that's the point that Ron and I kind of give. Ron likes the Red Sox. He went through 86 years of a curse. Cubs went through 108 years of a curse. To me, I look at last year. I mean, the one I think you look more is at 2012 and 2014 for just what happened in that Game 5 against St. Louis, what happened in Game 2 against the Giants. Last year, the Dodgers were just better than you last year. Kenley Jansen got 7-8 outs, and Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher in the game and got the last out. You can blame Bob Henley for last year. That's fine, too. Yes, they have playoff failures, and I understand that intangible is gonna play a factor. The Cubs have the title. The Cubs are going to come in loose. The Nats are going to be a little bit tight, I'm sure, in those first couple innings of Game 1. But that doesn't take away from what they've done this year. It's a different team, a different year. And sometimes, you know what? Like I wrote this week, to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. Now, you won't be the World Series champion if you win this NLDS, but it'll be a big monkey off their back if they do. I'm trying, in my mind, not to go, and I understand it's tougher for most of it, so believe me, I'm not angry at you guys for having these thoughts about the postseason failures. Believe me, it's going to be in the back of everybody's mind. But I'm not going to go in thinking that it's going to be, and look, you can be optimistic, negativity all you want, and believe me, Jay, you've got a good point. I understand your point. I'm just trying to give you my side and my opinion on it. That's all. Gio automatically, Chris is re-signed. When he got the 108 innings, the option vested. So Gio's back for next year. So we got a lot of cool things coming up, and I want to tell you about them. Coming up on Monday, I'll be back with you guys at 8 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be joined by Ryan Davis of the Sporting News. Now, Ryan's going to be covering Nats Cubs for the Sporting News. So Ryan will be with me. He has the Cubs perspective on everything. So we'll hopefully have some Nats fans. We'll have some Cubs fans. We'll have some questions. We'll have some good dialogue. It should be about a half hour, 40 minutes. So we'll gladly have fun with that show, and we appreciate Ryan hopping on. So he'll be with me on Monday. Again, on Thursday, Ron, Drew, and myself will be here. We'll preview the series for about an hour and give our picks. So we have so much preview coverage. We're going to have a tale of the tape I have written. I'm writing that'll be up in the middle of next week. We have so much Nats Cubs playoff preview stuff that you're going to need a lot of time to read it. And that's why you go to district.deck.com. We're going to give you everything you need to know. So I think that's going to be one of the most important things to keep in mind. Let's see what we got up on the site today. And yeah, guys, it's your opinion. Look, it's your opinion. I'm not going to go crazy on it. Just giving you my take. Mark Zuckerman and Masson did also tweet Sean Doolittle was not available tonight because Doolittle pitched Thursday night, warmed up last night. I would blame more Doolittle warming up last night, but I think the only thing you would take should Ryan Madsen pitch. But again, I think the Nats already have their pitching order decided tomorrow. And I don't know offhand or don't know firsthand. I would think Madsen's going to pitch. And everybody's fresh. Everybody's nervous. It's playoffs. Everybody's nervous. You're on pins and needles watching every pitch of the playoffs. That's what makes it so much fun. So what's up on the site today? We have Drew writing about Michael Taylor ready to become an October hero. And I wrote about Trey Turner igniting the offense. Turner had 29 hits in the month of September, his second best month of the season. He's stolen 8 bases, which is second in the National League to only D. Gordon. While the September is not as good as it was last year, he's in the right form at the right time. And he's the key, I think, in this series because if he can steal some bases on Wilson Contreras, that's going to help this offense tremendously. So all in all, while the words precautionary MRI, then I don't think other than that, I'm going off of the cramp. It's just a hamstring cramp. Scherzer will be fine. Scherzer will pitch in the postseason, and it's not a huge deal. Again, even tonight's result isn't a huge deal. Tomorrow's result isn't a huge deal. You know when it becomes a huge deal again? Friday. Friday, then we can have a huge deal. And of course, we'll be with you for DoDcast Postgames after each playoff game, either 2 of us or 3 of us. We're going to have a lot of fun, talk about these playoff games. And, of course, we want to hear from you guys, as always. in the chat room. We always appreciate your opinions and you guys hopping on with us always sometimes really late at night to chat about these games. So give us a like and subscribe. Oh, let me throw out the trivia question. I'll give you a couple more minutes. I always see Seth really got really mad at me if I forgot the trivia question. Max Scherzer did not get the win tonight. The Nats did not win in his starts. But can you guys give me the total number of wins the Nats have combined in Scherzer, Strasburg, and Gio starts? I'll give you a couple minutes. So again, your trivia question for tonight is the total number of wins the Nats have in games started by Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, and Gio Gonzalez. By the way, the Nats have only lost this year for the 10th time in a Max Scherzer start. Steven Strasburg, they've only lost 6 times. 6 times. Gio's lost 13, but a lot of that I think is largely due to the first half struggles of the bullpen. Because Gio could easily be going for 20 wins tomorrow if the bullpen blues cap some of those games. Jay said 46. Jay, that's actually too low. It's a really high number. I think very high number. All right. I understand, Seth. We don't want to do too much math. The total number is 61. Max Scherzer is 21-10. Steven Strasburg is 22-6. Gio Gonzalez, 18-13. So the Nats have won 61 of their 97 games when Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, and Gio Gonzalez are on the mound. Relatively high number, but what impresses me in Strasburg is the Nats are 22-6 when Steven Strasburg takes the mound. Very impressive number. And Jay, I know, I understand. We all want the Nats to win because then we're on the DoDcast more. We're doing more playoff games. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So again, Gio tomorrow against Stephen Brolt. I'll be with you tomorrow. But all in all, I don't think a lot of worry from tonight. Kintz will be fine. Doolittle will be fine, even though he didn't pitch. But I wouldn't worry about him not getting the game today. Scherzer's going to be fine. So again, don't worry too much about tonight. Don't worry too much about tomorrow. It'll be Friday that matters. So from all of us here at District on Deck, I'm Ricky Keeler. Saying hope you have a great rest of your night. And Ron will see you back here tomorrow for the series finale the regular season finale between the Nats and the Pirates.